Whew. All right, day 8. We got our secondary lower body day. We got SSB squats. We got stiff leg deadlifts. Basically everything is going to be the main drivers to our competition lifts. At least for me personally, things that really make that competition lift directly go up. So as I push these, I see results in the competition lifts as well. So as of right now, SSB squat and stiff leg deadlifts they are perfectly what I need to drive that competition lifts up. So slight problem, but we're gonna work through it. Like 3 days ago, I started to get a pretty bad pain right behind my kneecap on my left side. So it's still there, it's still tight. So we're gonna kind of play this by ear, but we still need to get a bunch of work in today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push it, and we're gonna keep ourselves not out of pain, because I find a lot of times that if we work around pain too much, we end up just not building up that area. So we're still gonna push it here. We're still going to most likely be in pain most of the day-to-day squat. But what we can do is get ourselves, even if we have to a range of motion that just causes a slight bit of discomfort. So instead of making it worse, maybe we're still in a bit of pain. Maybe we still feel our knee, but it's not the end of the world, you know? Now, with all that said, I did pick up some stuff from Calgary Barbell about injury and how to work through injury, and what that can mean. And that's who I kind of got that idea, or more of that mentality from, of just because we're in pain does not mean we always need to stop. Just may mean that we need to back off in a way. So maybe what we can back off is intensity. Maybe we can back off a range of motion. Maybe we can back off of that specific movement if that's the one causing us pain. But I can agree with the thinking that just because when I bench, my shoulder or elbow hurts, does that mean I need to stop benching? I'm not working out that day. Maybe it just means I need to switch up a little bit. Maybe do a range of motion that doesn't irritate it more. Bryce at Calgary always talked about, if I feel the pain only in the bottom of my squat, maybe what we can do is cut our squat right before depth, just when the discomfort starts, and then build from there. And as time progresses, then we can go a little lower and lower, and hopefully the discomfort level stays the same as we through some days and weeks and time training. Then that the depth gets lower and lower and lower, while we're still the same amount of discomfort until eventually it just goes away. So yeah, I like that a lot. That's kind of what we're gonna do. We're gonna see what this knee does. This is not like an injury. I think it's just a little flare up or something. The tendon's just a little red and mad. So sometimes, man, this stuff just goes away. I feel like there is no training to be a powerlifter or any strength sport and it not be injury, like in some way. Like this is not an injury, but this is just what happens. We're pushing weight. Right now we're trying to get back to where we were, so we are very quickly putting weight on from week to week. Sometimes making bigger jumps. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if I was not feeling a little beat up right now. But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna try this. This may or may not be our top set. Last week this was a top set at 5, and it moved extremely well. So we're gonna take it out for like a single real quick, and if the single goes really well, then we'll re-rack. We'll put some more weight on and try that for 5. 50 kilos, this is a working set. Don't bust the working set out real quick. Our goal is to push these. I'd like to get this to 3 plates. Is my main goal, but I still want to stay in the 5 to 7 rep range. So last week was 5. If this is our set, this is our working set, I'd really like to hit this for maybe 6 and go from there. Now, with the knee the way that it is, that's hard to say, because right now I feel as if that ain't not up to me. And mentally, it's not, I can't just mentally just push through it all. Oh man. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, that was what we need. Whew, all right. So, yeah, that went super well. I wanted to say something about the SSB bar too. Something that I picked up that helped me a lot, advice-wise, on kind of how to get this to sit real comfortable on your back. And I got this from Seth Alversworth. Dude, I got this like a week ago, maybe even 2 weeks, maybe. But head over to his YouTube page. He'll explain it a lot better than what I will. But basically, if I remember correctly, what you want to do is when you get underneath this bar, is set it to where you want it on your back, with the handles pushed up, and then set your back, tighten your lats, push everything where it needs to go, tension, whatever, and then pull the handles down into place. That way you can hold on to them, and it kind of like locks yourself into position. Now, again, he might explain it better than I, or maybe I'm just dead wrong. Maybe it's the opposite, but that's what worked for me. So, and I think that like if you ever use the SSB bar before, like I think naturally a lot of times what people, including myself, what I did for a really long time was when I was coming out of the squat, a lot of times I would end up like bending at my torso because I'm pulling the handles down, and I end up like going from this position to like this, my chest like collapse in from it. And I think a lot of times, and I think Seth kind of talked about this too, then you assume that like it's upper back weakness, and you're not strong enough to keep your upper back like where it needs to be. Like No, I don't think so either. Like neither does Seth, and I don't think so. Like I think honestly, like what it is you're just not set hard enough. Your upper back isn't set hard enough. It's not tight enough. It's not. You're not locking yourself into position. You know. So I do like the aspect of if we can push these handles away from us. Because also what that does is that bar kind of rolls back, like you know, where the center point is more up where it needs to be. And by rolling it back, it kind of goes down or down our back a bit, and allows us to like really lock everything together. And then we can kind of, what I do is pull the handles down with my lats. So I'm really like locking everything in here. So then once I get set, if anything, the only movement I have is like my hips and like my core, my legs, and then all this here is like tight. That way when I do walk it out and I'm ready to go, then I set my brace and I set everything, then the only bit of movement I should have is my lower body. Now as you fatigue, you know, your torso may collapse still, whatever. A lot of that comes down to what I believe is just like core strength. You just don't have the strength to like keep yourself upright in your brace a lot of times, or your legs are not strong enough quad wise, so you do push back towards your hips, and that causes your torso to collapse because like you just don't have the weight to, you don't have the strength to hold up that weight. So we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do one more set of this. I like to do 2 sets for right now with my secondary day, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I like to really push these hard. We are doing straight sets, so that last one was we were like RP like 8.5. So I'm gonna do it again at 6. Same thing with like our stiff leg deadlift. We're gonna go do it, and we're gonna do something really hard and push it to RP 8, between 8 and 9. And then we're gonna do it for the same weight for another set, kind of see how that goes. So this might go really well. This might go to absolute RP 11. But I have many training days to go till I get back to my comp lift. And the next time I hit lower, I have given myself things that are really easy to auto-regulate when it comes to intensity. So handles up on my back, set my back, and then pull the handles down. Get it all locked in. Oh man. Now, I think just my honest thoughts here. What I'd like to do is to do another set of these, because I think I'm there to doing 3 sets. Because ultimately, that's the goal. But for right now, we're locked in at 2 sets. Again, because I want to auto-regulate this myself, but I don't want this to take away from the main, and I need to give myself time to build back up. And it does allow me to be able to go a little harder. Now, we've been going pretty hard in this for about 3 weeks now. Really building up the weight and reps. So I'm thinking that moves super well. So in my head, I want to do another set of this because I'm ready to do another set the same weight. I want a lot better. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another week to make sure that the next time I come around, if I have this same gut feeling, then we go to 3. You know, like sometimes if we're progressing our bench or squat or deadlift, you know, Sometimes it may feel like, oh, we could throw a little bit more weight on. But if we're just a little bit more patient and we throw maybe a bit more weight on, just a small amount, instead of making like that big jump, sometimes it pays off, because then next week we can make another small jump, and then the week after another small jump, and the week after. Rondell Hunt talks a lot about momentum, and, building momentum. Like sometimes those small, tiny little wins start to add up, and then instead of making one big jump, we can make these tiny little jumps. Sometimes that lasts longer when we get more out of it. So we went up in reps. We went up one more rep. So technically for both sets, I just did this for the same weight for 2 more total reps. So I think to add another set in would be a little too much right now. But if we can do 3 sets next time around at 5, 6, or 7 reps, I'd be really happy. I would even be okay with taking out the same weight for another set of 6. And instead of adding another rep, like if a set of 6 for this weight goes a little bit better than it did today, instead of going for that 7th rep, taking it back just a tiny bit, keeping that last rep in the tank to then be able to do another set, I would get more out of the 3rd set. But that's kind of my rambling point here, that we need to be making these adjustments, we need to be making these jumps, but we need to be patient. Sometimes making 2 jumps at once is just not the right move to do, and that comes with a lot of patience. Now, I think we need to find a middle ground here. So I think what we need to do is, instead of constantly working more towards focusing on, or leaning more towards taking it easy, I think we do need to take this hard. And I think that we need to, our approach needs to be some type of intense. But now, I will say this. We just did all these sets with this weight, and I said it when we started, but I gotta be honest with you, I can't feel my knee at all right now, and not in a bad way. My knee does not hurt. I kind of forgot about it, especially even on that last set. I did not feel my knee whatsoever. So doing one play, I could really feel it. And even my 2nd set, I remember the first couple reps, but I do not remember it at all since then. So, which is good, which means that in that last set, I didn't feel it at all. So we made the right call to push a little bit through that pain. I see a lot of people talk about pain, and what they do is they'll talk about, how your body sees pain, or your body experiences pain way before there's actually an injury. The pain is not an admission of injury. The pain is not your body going, something's broken. Pain is your body going, something may hurt, or something may be damaged, or might become damaged. Pain all the time, or not all the time, is not always something is broken. Sometimes pain is a warning that something may become broke. So, now, how I hurt that particular part of my knee, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't from squats, maybe it was from when I was at work, I twisted weird, or did something, or whatever. So maybe pushing a little bit on squats, my brain is starting to signal hey, we're gonna get injured here real soon. So we're gonna throw a little pain signal out. Maybe it's not the fact that then pushing my squat, well, it does not mean that we're on the brink of injury and I need to if I push it, then that means I'm guaranteed to be injured. It might be that something else may irritate it, and it's not this, but my brain doesn't know the difference between the two because it's trying to protect itself. So what I can do is I can see how this goes. I can see based on range of motion or weight or exercise or anything like that, kind of see how it goes and take it as it comes, So very successful with that. We're gonna do some stiff leg deadlifts right now, which I'm not the greatest at. But it's doing extremely well. Some big advice too. If you guys are new to lifting or even powerlifting, or you're just looking for something a little better, get a planner. Like this stuff right here, man, like this is a game, this is life changing. This is a game changer. I used to do a notebook for everything, like a notepad from like Amazon or whatever. It's just papers. And that was cool because you could fill up so much stuff. But dude, I can look here and look. Like the way that I organize things, I have my day set. Like we're on day 8 of the block. This is also day 8 of like the week. So I can go back because I put like what day 8 was last time. I can put how much weight I did. I can see what date that I did it on. You know, it was March 25th when I did that workout last. So last time we hit so much on stiff leg, SBD, on my bench, whatever. But y'all should be recording your guys' stuff, and I think having it out on paper is better. Now, if you do it like on your phone, what I would say, instead of having like a notes app, like using the notes app, I think it's beneficial to put it in like in a planner, put it on a calendar, man. Like put that stuff that, you know, I squatted, 315 for triples today. This, that, whatever. Now, I like paper better because I'm more of a physical person, for one. But for two, I can leave little notes easier at the bottom that say, like, moved really well. Like today, I'm going to write all my stuff out, and at the end of it, I'm going to go, and I'm going to put that if I feel well next week, or next time this day comes around, I need to add another set. It's time to add the third set. Especially to the SSB stuff. So that's kind of like how I handle recording all that stuff, man. Like a planner is just the way to go. Like that, honestly, the notebook is great. The notes on your phone is great. But if you can do dates, then you can see. I feel like it's a lot easier on a planner to see like how many rest days am I at, a week? How many times frequency am I hitting this? Since I am doing this weird like hybrid schedule to where I have days of deadlifting, on a Tuesday, but then the next time I deadlift might be like a Friday, and then it might be like Wednesday and then Sunday, and not doing like Sundays are for squat and Saturdays are for bench. Like having a rotating schedule of I have 9 days. I get to them as I get to them. When I need rest, I take rest. When I need time off just for personal stuff, I have stuff going on with my wife, with my kids. I have other responsibilities. Not so much that I need the rest. I just don't have the time for it. I'm able to take that because it's not like, well, I can't on Sunday because Sunday's my squat day and I can't miss my squat day. This allows me the time, like to roll, with kind of roll with the punches with whatever life is. So. It's really easy for me to be able to look back and see, okay, last week I took 3 days off. That's perfect. Or 2 days, or 1 day, or 4, depending on how things worked out. It's easier for me to see a whole week and go, okay, maybe I went a little too easy last week. Too many things happened. I wasn't able to train as much. Maybe next week when you come in to bring the intensity up a little bit, maybe not take as many days off, kind of get ourselves back in the groove of it, kind of see how it goes. But this is also how I learned that I needed to add a bench day to my back days, because there was a point where I was doing bench, a lower day, and then back. Bench, a lower day, and back. And I had a week where I only benched 1 time within that week, because how it had panned out is that on a Sunday, I had squatted, and then I hit back, and then I took a day off. So then we're at Wednesday, and I benched, and then we hit Thursday I squatted, took Friday off, and hit back on Saturday. So in that whole 7-day span, I benched one time. And that immediately looking at that on that planner, being able to see each week, I directly got to get eyes on and go, I benched one time last week. That's a problem. I need to address that. So now it'd be easy, obviously, if I did every Tuesday I bench, every Thursday, whatever. But like I said, with what I got going on, I'm not able to do that. So next best thing I can do is be able to have everything be traceable and be able to look back at things in an organized way. So with the planner, what I can do is look at each week. So then when I threw my bench days, I threw a bench in to my back days, and I was able to see, obviously based on that week, I can look and go, well, I hit back twice, I benched once. So if I would have benched during my back days, I would have benched 3 times during that week. And if it pans out the right way, depending on how many rest days it take, I can bench anywhere between like 2, 3, and 4 days a week. Most of the time I'm hitting 3 days a week. Very rare. It would have to be a weird situation that I only hit 2, and it'd probably be because I only trained like 4 days within that week. So, yeah, that's kind of, I guess my best advice that I got is to write stuff down, write it in a planner, and then you are able to go back and look at everything, you know. Like I was able to see that last week what we did was 225 for 2x5 on stiff leg deadlifts. So what I like to do is I'd like to add some weight. My deadlift is going very well, or with our main movement, with our competition stance and everything. It's going extremely, extremely well. So I'd like to capitalize on that, on the momentum itself. That. So that moves way too easy. Way too easy. Which is great. Which again reinforces my point in my thought in my head that 3 sets on the SSB is needed. Because last week we did 2 sets on the SSB. We came over here. We were so dead and burned out from the 2 sets of SSB. We were sore, hamstrings, glutes were pumped from the SSB. My quads, I remember last time I did this, my quads were on fire, as if I've never hit anything on quads before. So by the time we got to stiff leg, it felt so bad, it felt so heavy. I had 225 for a 2x5 was just absolutely atrocious. But we didn't take that 3rd set. It allowed us now to go up and weight here, which is perfect. This is exactly what we want. So then we can build momentum here this week as well. And if we can get ourselves to feel like maybe we need a 3rd set here, then we take notes on it. And next week we do 3 sets on the SSB. We move 2 sets here on stiff leg. And if it also feels as if we need to add the 3rd set, we make the call then. But with I had to see it with how the day goes itself. But from my point of view right now, I would even not be opposed to pushing off that 3rd set another week. Because, I talked about doing 2 sets here and feeling a certain amount of fatigue and then coming over here, we're bringing a little bit, we have more in the tank. So if I did my 3rd set next week, is that going to take away from this to the point where 3 sets is not something that's going to be obtainable quite yet? Do I need to make that build even slower in a sense? Because at the end of the day, a 3rd set is going to help. But if doing 2 sets is not going to set us back, taking another week to add a 3rd set to our stiff leg deadlift, maybe be able to add a little bit more weight or be able to add some more reps, is not going to be detrimental to our success. It does not mean that in a competition, maybe I would have squatted 500 and now I'm going to squat a 380. That's not how it is now. I do still want to be conscious of what's going on, so I still want to be able to push hard. And I still want to be able to take this and focus and take it seriously, and keep the intensity there, because I want to progress. I still want to push. I still want things to go well, you know. Yeah, I do want to squat 500 pounds at a meet. You know, we're looking at a meet right now. I believe it was the end of August. I got a buddy that's doing it. So only problem is, it's non-tested. I am, however, tested. I'm drug-free. I'm a drug-free athlete. So I don't know how well that's going to work for me to do a non-tested meet as a tested lifter, as a natural lifter. But I still think it'd be fun. My buddy's doing it. I think I'd have a lot of fun competing in it, you know, just alongside of him. We might be competing in the same weight class. So I think there's a lot like to think about there, but I think that could be a lot of fun. Even if I go and, you know, I'm getting blown out by non-tested lifters, I still think I'd have a good time. I still think I had fun doing it. So, but yeah, the goal is to squat 500 pounds when it comes to that meet. If I did it in August. So I think that's obtainable. We just have to get ourselves back to a certain point first and then build from there. I mean, we're in the beginning of April, so if by the end of May I'm not back to where I used to be, I don't know what we're gonna go for. The goals will have to change, because then I would use June, July, and August to do a prep and do a peak. So we got to get ourselves back. We're gonna have to get a lot of work in. Like right now, we're gonna have to bring this here a little bit. Oh man. Woo! Jeez. Oh man. Oh. Man, I tell you what, I miss that. I miss the heavy stuff. I really do. I miss really pushing deadlifts and squats and bench. I'm so glad we're coming back. This feels great. Feels phenomenal. I got little cramps in my hands. Hands are stuck closed a little bit. I'm feeling that. Feeling the weight, you know. Whew. Man, I miss that stuff. Awesome. Move's great. Move's wonderful. Set of 5. Went smooth. That's great. I'm going to do another set of these. Man. Yep, that's it's what we've been wanting. It's what we've been missing. It's what we've been pushing for. It's what we're driving for. This is I mean, this is the whole reason, you know. We're lifting this, that we're lifting, that we're powerlifting, and we're doing what we're doing. We enjoy to move the heavier weights. So I miss this a lot. I'm so glad we get to get back to this. This is great. So We just need next set to bring the same amount of intensity, to bring same amount of focus, if not like a tad bit more, just to really get through the set. So we're gonna catch our breath here for a minute, see how this goes. So somebody asked me about rest periods the other day in person, and this may be bad examples because right now, because filming these vlogs and stuff, I have been pushing the rest periods unintentionally. But I think that honestly, the best thing that I've seen, the best advice that I've got is when it comes to rest periods, that rest periods do not need to be this long, drawn out process. So I've seen a lot of people talk about it in different facets of, different levels of the sport, in different federations, equipped, non-equipped. We're all, whatever, it doesn't matter. A lot of people say some conflicting things. I see a lot of just normal people take 5-10 minutes between sets for squats and stuff and whatever. And I get the appeal to it because you do get yourself the time to recover. You catch your breath, your heart rate falls, whatever. But I don't know, I feel like you get cold too quick. So what I like to do is, if I have really hard sets that really win me, that really, top set, stuff like that, I'd like to plan for, a target to be like 3 minutes for that, a rest period. That gives me time to catch my breath, my heart rate back down, and not basically feel like I'm immediately going back underneath the bar. For everything else though, back off sets, it's a lot of my secondary stuff. I like to hit like 2 minutes between, and that's enough to just be able to catch my breath, just for my heart rate to slow back down. And then for like accessories, it's a minute or less. I feel like sitting here doing some like hammer bicep curls doesn't need the same amount of recovery as doing a top set on squat. So there's a point where like, waited another minute or two, I'm not gonna squeeze out another rep on a hammer curl. Like, if I'm doing 30s, like I'm already doing 30s, like what, I'm gonna add one more rep if I waited 2 more minutes between my rest sets? Like, I don't know. I don't follow that whatsoever. I'm not pushing rest periods. I'm not pushing, these long, lengthy, drawn out things. Now, like I said, right now, terrible example, we're trying to film this stuff. I'm trying to talk in between a lot of my sets and stuff, so they do get unintentionally pushed by accident because I just keep laughing along. But for the most part, when it's my choice, 2 minutes is ideal, and that's ideal for everything. So I think you can kind of go up or down as you see fit depending on the top set, but I think all in all, 2 minutes is like the target. Go up or down from there. Not 5 minutes, not 10, not 15, not 20. So man. Whew, what a life. That's great. That's great stuff, dude. Phenomenal sets. But dude, I haven't always had a home gym. I have gone to gyms before. And just to watch some of the stuff that goes on, man, with these rest periods and sets, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I've seen guys way stronger than me but take 10, 15 minutes between sets. And maybe that's why they're stronger, fine. But I'm not willing to spend that much time in the gym. I have other things. I have other priorities. I do have a job, I have a wife. I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys. They require a certain amount from me on a day-to-day basis. So, no, I will not be spending 3 hours in the gym. It just ain't gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. Don't have the time for that. I also personally don't have the patience for that. That's a lot, you know? Like, for instance, I remember going to a gym and a guy that notoriously took a long time between sets, right? I worked on first shift. So I would get to the gym about 3:30. He'd roll in about 5 right when I was leaving. So I did at the time had got switched to second. Before now and other leaving back to first, but I went to second shift. So I worked out after work, which was about 11:30 at night. And I remember having like a day where I came in and he was there and he was deadlifting beside me. And I was like, oh, he must have got, you know, like just a late start, you know, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And someone asked him, and he had said that he had got there at a normal time at 5. And this is 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And his mindset, and I'm not knocking it because it's just different than mine, but he didn't have anybody home. He didn't have a wife, he didn't have kids, you know, he didn't have that priority list that I have, which is fun, which is great. I'm not, again, it's not like a negative thing, just the truth, like, you know. So he did an SBG day, and what he'd hit his sets, you know, he'd hit his top squat set, he'd hit his bench set, or, you know, whenever he'd hit his squat, he'd wait. But he was resting like a whole hour in between the bench and the squat. And then, you know, he'd be done with his bench, and he'd take an hour to do his deadlift. You know, and I mean, I don't have that. Like, I don't have that type of time. I don't have that luxury. I just don't got it in me. So I think if we're going to lean more one direction than the other, I think the way that we need to be leaning is shorter rest periods, because we're more conditioned, first off. I think a lot of even just plain old let's just talk recovery, day in and day out, you know, like right now, how long is it going to take us to recover from this SSB and stiff leg deadlifts? You know, are we at the point where this is going to take us just an absolute, you know, week to recover from, or are we conditioned enough? You know, do we have the proper conditioning for this to only take us, you know, a day or two to recover from? So I saw an interesting study the other day that talked about, you know, how long does it take to recover from heavy, hard top sets. So it's very interesting to read, and it got me thinking, like, you know, because all gonna be individual. I don't mean that in the aspect of, you know, each person's different, just at a base, and there's no way around it. I mean it more like, where are you at with your training? Where are you at with your training cycle? Where are you at with, you know, like for me, right now, this might take me a little bit longer to recover from than it would have 6 months ago, or that it will 6 months from now. because we took the time off, because we, got injured, had to back off a bit, stuff like that. But Westside Barbell, and a lot of those guys that came from that, they want to do their own things, like Dave Tate, I listen to a lot of what they say. Even Matt Wayne, so like all these people have said some stuff, man. Like, we easily can sit and pick apart and find the wrong end and find like the real wrong end. But a lot of these guys came up with a lot of good stuff. And when they talk about rest periods and they talk about how, if you're doing more than catching your breath, like what are you doing? A lot of these guys are getting whole workouts done in an hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half at max. A lot of these guys, but a lot of these guys are doing GPP work to keep themselves conditioned. So if you're keeping yourself conditioned, you're easier to recover from. Matt Venner right now is going on tangents a lot. Not that bad, disrespectfully. But he's going on a lot lately about cardio. And, the positive effects that cardio can have when it comes to strength training. And it opens my eyes a bit to the fact that, for one, I'm not doing it. But for two, I should be doing it. Because I agree with everything that he said in every article, that he has reposted about it, showing that like staying in certain zones of cardio for so long can have real impacts on your training, on your recovery, your conditioning, being able to handle sets better. I think two things come to mind when I think about like rest periods, and that's going to be, conditioning, or even like when we're talking about rest periods. I think something that falls in the same category is going to be your warm-ups. Think about it as the aspect of if we have to take 10 minutes between squats, are we just becoming, good at squatting every 10 minutes? Are we able to squat quicker than that? If we force our bodies to be like, okay, you gotta come back real quicker, whatever. And I'm not saying we should push this to 10 seconds in between each set, but if we cannot recover in 2 to 3 minutes from a hack squat, or an RDL, like, what are we doing? We're too unconditioned. Then we need to be able to come back quicker. Same thing with warm-ups. Warm-ups, we need to be able to push because we need to warm ourselves up. That's a warm-up. We need to be sweaty. Our heart rate needs to be elevated. Matt Whitting tried to coin it as his own. Who knows whose it actually is? Who cares? But I do like the aspect of, I do like lat pull downs. I like to do tricep extensions. I like to do all this stuff. Going from just one exercise to the next, maybe repeating that cycle until we feel like our shoulders are warm and stuff, not taking rest periods to do a 45-pound lat pull down just to get our lats engaged and get blood in there. It's crazy. So, but if we push our warm-ups and we do them consistently and we do them to warm ourselves up, and we push our rest sets and our conditioning is good, we do some GPP work on some off days or just, days after training, in the afternoon because we can, some type of farmer's carry or, just general mobility stuff or whatever. If we're able to push ourselves there and, be able to recover quick enough there and warm up there in a timely fashion, I do think that it allows us the ability, when need be, we don't need to warm up if we have to. So I think of a story I've heard before from guys from West Side. They talked about they came into a meet, and I don't remember the exact situation, but it was something like they had just like basically walked in, and it was time for Chuck Vogelpohl to squat pretty much right away. So what he did was he ran back. They put all the stuff on. They put a suit on, and I don't remember fully. I think that he maybe took out one warm-up set, or maybe it was on the platform. It was something wild. Like he basically walked in and squatted 800 pounds immediately. Now, I don't know how much true it is. I did remember seeing it from somebody. I think it was on Dave Tate's podcast or whatever. But having the ability to come in and not have to be fully warmed up and still be able to go, I think says a lot. And that's kind of where we need to be at. So, but we're gonna do this one more time, and then we're gonna do some RDLs with the trap bar. I don't know, something I just like to do, and that's pretty much it. But I need to stop blabbing. I need to get back to work. So we're gonna cut this video right here, and that's pretty much it. If anybody makes it this far into the video, hit like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. It'd be super helpful to me, really get this channel kind of rolling. I'm really trying to get this, moving along. I'd like to really show just like what normal training is for, just a guy that has a job and maybe a wife, maybe kids, maybe not, maybe that's not you, but it's just show what normal training is. I'd really like to get this like kind of rolling and to showcase like what some like normal general knowledge can do, what some general numbers can do, and kind of how I play with everything here, numbers wise. So you're not going to see me anytime at least soon squat 800 pounds. I'm not benching, in the mid fives, and I'm not pulling 900 pounds. So my training may look more like what yours would, more of an average guy. Maybe you squat 3, 2, 4, 500 pounds. Maybe you bench, you're trying to hit 225, you're trying to hit 315, you're trying to hit 365, and like this just feels more normal to you. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, kind of what I'm trying to start the channel for, is just to show that I never really had good success finding people like that. Everybody always saw squatted 800 pounds in my weight class. They're pulling 936, they're whatever it is. So I just want to see what normal training is at a normal garage gym that is a garage that was turned into a gym. Not anything too fancy. At the end of the day, we're moving weights, we're moving giant rusty plates. Who cares? I'm not about to be prim and proper when it comes to my equipment and my space to lift. We're here to lift heavy weights. We're here to be just dudes. We're not here to have a luxury spa studio gym. This is what a normal gym looks like. This is a garage that I turned into a gym. That's pretty much it. It has a floor that I put mats on and gym equipment in. So I just want to showcase really what like normal training can look like. If this is what your garage gym looks like, good for you. This is great. If it's smaller than this, you don't have the equipment like this, it's great too. Make do with what you got. I don't think we need to be spending a bunch of money on some RGB lights and getting everything looking super perfect and pristine. I think that I would rather put my money elsewhere, and I'd rather just buy some a different bar, some more weights, different machine, whatever. So yeah, I need to get going. I need to get this rolling and get this kind of over with. So hopefully tomorrow we got just a simple back day. I think we got Larson press before it, and I don't fully remember what our back exercise is tomorrow. I think we got like lat pull downs, just some basic cable stuff, man. Tomorrow's gonna be a super basic day. Larson press, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. It's the day before my main bench day, so I like to use it kind of like as like a primer, like a good. I just want to kind of see where I'm at. So I thought about adding in a top set to my Larson press, just something real sub-maximal, like trying to hit something like 80% for a single on Larson, and then backing off quite a bit and going from there. So, but it should be tomorrow when we upload the back day, and we'll kind of go from there. So that's pretty much all I got. Still don't know how to end these at all. Seems wildly awkward to end these videos. So it's got to kind of end abrupt, and that's kind of what you guys get. So that's it.